hello there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and joining me tonight, I have our czar of source material, John.
I was going to try to do a Yoda voice, but then I realized I've never actually seen Star Wars, so I can't do it.
Oh, need to watch Star Wars, you do. Oh man. So yeah, John and I have gotten together tonight because he and I have watched all of Star Wars Visions, and we want to talk about it. Before I get started, I do want to mention I am very, very sick while recording this. So I do apologize for the raspiness of my voice. I also do apologize if you hear any coughing in the background. I'm going to try and mute it as best I can when I feel a cough coming on, but every so often I might miss one. So I do want to apologize for that up front. But let's talk about Star Wars, John. Let's talk about Star Wars that isn't fucking The Last Jedi.
Listen, I don't know why you hate The Last Jedi so much. I honestly don't.
It's the worst movie ever made.
It was a cultural masterpiece.
Okay.
Yeah. As someone who's never seen the original Star Wars, I would just like to say it was the perfect successor to the original trilogy.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning before we actually do get into this that you have never watched the original Star Wars trilogy, have you?
Still haven't.
Yeah?
Like I gave episode 4 technically the first. Yeah, it was the first movie in the trilogy. Episode 4. I gave that a fair shake of like an hour of watching, and I didn't like it. And then I gave like episode 1, which I guess would be technically the 4th movie released. I gave that like an hour and a half, and I didn't like that either. So I just never got into Star Wars. But I know basically everything about it because pop culture just loves Star Wars so goddamn much that I can't get away from it. So it's like, whatever. I don't have to fucking watch it to know what happens.
Hey, fair enough. So yeah, but let's actually get into it. So for those who may not know, obviously this is a spoiler cast, so we are going to spoil anything and everything about this. First off, if you haven't gone and seen it, go watch it. It's worth it. I guess it is on Disney Plus, so there's that. But it's certainly worth watching. This was announced about a year ago now?
Yeah,
a little over a year ago.
We made the original erroneous prediction, or not prediction, expectation that it was all going to be Studio Trigger. As it turns out, it's a collection of Star Wars shorts done by different animation studios.
One of which is Studio Trigger.
Trigger actually does 2 episodes, which they're actually pretty decent. But I think there's 5 studios that worked on this, right? Total? Let's see.
Total. We have Kamikaze Doga, we have Studio Colorido, we have Geno Studio, Trigger, Kinema Citrus, Production IG, and Science Saru all developed episodes in this anthology series.
Yeah, and so I really liked this. After the first episode, I was just like, I love this. And I thought it was going to be more like the first episode, with the Ronin vibe, and I love the aesthetic of freaking the duel, right? It's feudal Japan but Star Wars.
Yeah, right?
And I just love that aesthetic. It looks so fucking cool, and I loved the Ronin. Like, oh god, fuck.
So I don't know if you've ever actually seen any, but for me, this entire episode, which was done by Kamikaze Doga, a anime studio that is really, I guess, known for a couple of things, mostly doing the OPs for JoJo's Bizarre Adventures parts 1, 2, and 3. And they also did Ninja Batman and Pop Team Epic.
Yeah, so I knew that the animation style looked very similar to Ninja Batman, because that's what I thought of first when I saw it. And then I thought about the JoJo OPs where it's like 3D CG.
Yeah.
But
I got such a vibe of like an old like black and white Akira Kurosawa film, and I absolutely loved it. Like the whole like one-on-one battle, and then like this is for like the soul of a village, and I oh my god, I love the entire aesthetic, and like oh, it's so good.
Yeah, so I've never seen any of that, but it obviously they did this in black and white, like not intentionally black and white because it's just muted colors, but it looks black and white, and the only thing that really sticks out are the red fucking lightsabers. So the coolest thing was when the Ronin approaches, you know, he's like, oh, this village is being attacked, and Ronin is approaching, and then he pulls out a fucking red lightsaber. You're like, what? He's a Sith? What? And then he fights that Sith lady with the fucking umbrella lightsaber. That shit was nuts. Like, what? An umbrella lightsaber?
Yeah, from now on, I'm just calling that the umbrella saber, and it looks so cool.
It looked so cool. It was so stupid. But then, like, you know, you get to the end, and fucking Ronin pulls out, like, he destroys the fucking, the umbrella saber. He destroys that, and he takes the kyber crystal, and then he opens his fucking pouch, and you just see like multiple Sith kyber crystals, and you're like, what? This guy
another fine addition to my collection.
Yeah, he's like, the Ronin is just a Sith hunter, and I'm like, yo, that's pretty dope. I'd watch this.
Yeah, that was a heck of a twist, by the way.
I thought he was just gonna be like, he's actually a Sith guy, but he just wants to battle strong people or something, you know? But it turns out, no, this guy hunts Sith. Like, oh, fuck. But then he's also using a red lightsaber, and it's like, well, it's because he's kind of... Because, you know, a Jedi wouldn't go around hunting Sith, even though they did kind of hunt them to extinction, but the council... They say the Jedi Order did that for the safety of the universe, whatever. I think it's bullshit. But, yeah, I just like that the point, because I really wanted to think that this is just a Sith guy who's a wandering Ronin, and he just wants to fight other strong people. It just so happens that Sith lords are kind of very crazy with power, so it's the fun is fighting them. That's what I had in my headcanon. But when they pulled out, like, he's got like fucking 10 other red kyber crystals, like, oh shit, he's a hunter. Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. I love the twist in it, and just the aesthetic, the overall animation and art style aesthetic of it was just perfect. It was not at all what I was expecting going into this, but I'd take this over half of the shit we get any day. That's one of the things I love about Kamikaze Doga as a whole. They're definitely willing to try out stuff like this. And just see if it works. And in this instance, I think it worked really well. I think the art style really helped fit the dynamic of the story that they were trying to tell.
And then, so I watched this in both Japanese and English. I swapped between the two depending on how I felt the English dub did. I tried watching it mostly in English. But there are certain scenes where I swapped to Japanese. I just had to watch it in Japanese because it's like terrible. I didn't even look at the voice cast for most of this, but apparently Lucy Liu voices the bandit leader and
the bandit leader.
Yeah, like, oh, I didn't know that. That's actually pretty fucking funny.
They actually got some pretty big names to do the voices.
Oh yeah, they have really fucking famous characters. People voicing all the. But I mean, you got Disney money, dude. Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Disney money. You can afford to hire Disney level actors.
Yeah, and so I went into this thinking that Trigger was supposed to be doing everything. So when I saw it was like made by Kamikaze Doga, I was like, what? Like, I don't understand. I thought this was supposed to be Trigger. So then after that, I go to the second episode, and it's like Studio Colorido, and it's like the style reminds me so much of Interstellar 4-5. And I was like, is this a studio that worked on that or something from the fucking early 2000s? So, and then it's like, I don't remember the music too much in the duel. This probably wasn't too bad because I didn't hate it, but I don't think it's kind of a weird thing. So all these episodes have nothing to do with each other other than
it's an anthology series, so none of them have anything to do with each other. And it's sort of like what's that, the Halo Legends that they did a few years ago.
Oh, I've never watched that.
Oh, some of them are pretty good. They also did like the Animatrix back in the day, where it was just an anime anthology series where none of the stories really had anything to do with each other. They were just set in the same universe.
Didn't Ergo Proxy come from Animatrix? Or am I thinking of a different show?
I think you're thinking of a different show.
Okay. I could have sworn with the Animatrix there was a something that got picked up through it and became an actual anime because they're like it was very well received, but I'm talking out my ass. I'm just thinking of something right now, but yeah, so going from the duel to Tatooine Rhapsody episode 2, it's such a giant change because Kamikaze Doga does 3D CG, and then you get to Tatooine Rhapsody, which literally looks like Interstellar 4 or 5. So it's very cartoonish. And at first, I didn't like Tatooine Rhapsody. I was like, I kind of liked the action-oriented The Duel. At Tatooine Rhapsody, there's not too much action in it. It's very cartoony looking. Like, it gives off very much Saturday morning cartoon vibes. And
it does. Even the story itself kind of gives off a Saturday morning cartoon vibe.
Yeah. Like, and then the music, it was okay. I hated listening to the music in English. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, bless your heart, but man, you cannot fucking sing.
Good actor, terrible singer.
Yeah, so I had to swap it to Japanese just to listen to Hiroyuki Yoshino sing because he's an actual singer. But they did have Bobby Moynihan as Boba Fett, which is super fucking cool because did we do a Mandalorian spoiler cast yet? I don't think we did.
No, we talked about it, but we never did it.
Okay, so I loved The Mandalorian. As a non-Star Wars fan, I'd say myself, I don't know if I'm a non-Star Wars fan, because I've played Battlefront, like the original ones on PS2, and I love those. I also loved, like, Clone Wars on... I love all the spin-offs of Star Wars. I just don't like actual Star Wars. Which is, like, is weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, fuck the main story. That shit's garbage. But, man, those side stories? Oh, just chef's kiss. So, yeah, I don't think Tatooine Rhapsody was definitely weak, because there's definitely two that come to mind that I'm just like, I did not like at all. One I think the other one of them might be controversial to you when we talk about it, but yeah, there's not too much to say about Tatooine Rhapsody. It's a band, they get together, and there's what's his name, Guy. There's a Hutt named Guy who has a bounty on him, so Boba Fett shows up to hunt them, and they just kind of like they're in a band called Star Waver, which is just like, okay. Weird name choice.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning this is supposed to be set during the Clone Wars, so like in between episodes 2 and 3 of the actual Star Wars movies, and it's like, wow, okay, so Boba Fett was just out here jamming out to some rock music during the Clone Wars. Okay.
Yeah, like, obviously
this is fine.
I don't think any of the anthology is canonical. I haven't seen anything that says that, because it just doesn't make sense if it would be canonical or not. I hope it doesn't make sense if it is canonical because of one of the episodes. But
oh yeah, one of the episodes is definitely, it can't be canonical because it doesn't make any sense to the rest of the story. But it is stated that the duel does take place in an alternate universe, so I mean that makes sense based on the aesthetic.
Yeah, feudal. Oh yeah, an alternate universe with feudal Jedi Empire. I love it.
Yeah,
the fucking feudal Japan / Star Wars again. Really cool aesthetic. Really wanted to see more of that. And I remember that's a complaint that I saw a lot of for Star Wars Visions. A lot of people hated that it was an anthology because they're like, you watch the first episode and you think it's gonna be like that the entire time, and then you watch the episode 2 and it's such a change in direction. Like, episode 2 is more of a comedy. It's more about like the power of friendship, and they're trying to save their bandmate, and they don't actually fight anyone. There's like, I guess there's technically a fight scene at the very beginning when they're trying to escape Boba Fett, but it's not an actual fight scene. It's like, oh shit, everyone flip over the fucking house and let's escape. Like that's what it amounts to, really. So it was very different, which is why I thought it was pretty weak. But I thought the song was good. Definitely don't listen to it in English because God,
No,
it is so bad.
no, like you said, bless you, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You can act, but you definitely singing is not your forte. I don't know. Personally, I liked it because it was more of a laid-back story within the Star Wars universe. I don't know. I just liked it. It does give off that like Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic, though, which I know probably turned off a lot of people. But I don't know. It's just there's something about it I really enjoyed. It's certainly something you can kind of turn your brain off and just not think about.
Well, like the whole entire episode starts off with Jay. He's a young Jedi Padawan who looks like he's just escaped from the war, right? He's like gruffled, gristled. He looks rough. And then Guy finds him. He's like, "What are you?" And it's like, obviously he's a Jedi Padawan, and obviously he just escaped Order 66. And I thought they were gonna do something about that. So I was like, I was gonna be okay if they did that, but they didn't. It was just literally he tries to use his lightsaber. It doesn't work because whatever reason he's not worthy anymore. Who cares? And he just becomes a singer in the band. Like, I seriously thought he was gonna Jay was gonna be able to like pull out his lightsaber at the end and fight off Boba Fett and Jabba the Hutt and save Guy.
But he did it with the power of rock.
Yeah, he did it with the power of rock and music, bro. Yeah.
I half expected him to be voiced in English by Jack Black.
Oh God, I would have hated that. I have a personal issue with Jack Black. Me and him hate each other. This is a well-known beef.
Okay. Okay. You have a well-known Twitter beef with him or something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's more like a one-sided hate, but
I don't even know you exist, bro.
I know he doesn't even know who I am, but I'm the one who hates. I am the amalgamation of hate for Jack Black. I am the antagonist in the timeline.
But no, I thought yes, it's very, very different from what I was expecting, but I can't say I was that I was disappointed. The next episode, however, episode 3, The Twins. I think everyone who's listened to this podcast knows by now I am a huge Trigger fanboy. And this was done by Studio Trigger, aka the studio that gave us Kill la Kill, Little Witch Academia, Space Patrol Luluco, Gridman, what else? Premiere. I think it's safe to say, John, that the main character in this definitely looks like a rehash of a character from Premiere.
It was quite literally this entire episode screamed Trigger. Like, it's done in the same style as like Space Patrol Luluco or Premiere. Like, it's Trigger. It looks like Trigger. Everything about it screamed
And it was
Trigger.
directed. It was directed by Hiroyuki Imaishi, who also directed Premiere and Kill la Kill.
Yeah, so it made the story was nonsensical, but the fight scenes were cool. First and foremost, how the fuck did they breathe outside in space without helmets?
That's a question I had from the second it happened in the episode. He's like, I can understand how the sister is breathing because she's still in the suit, right? I can think that maybe there's some kind of like an oxygen rebreather or something built into the suit, but he's like, like all but naked outside in space. I'm like, how is this working?
Through the power of the Force, bro. Come on. Don't you know
it's the Force?
The Force can literally create a vacuum of air and supply you oxygen around you. Duh. See how the midichlorians work is that I don't know anything about this. Again, I've never seen Star Wars. I'm just making shit up.
Also in English, he's voiced by Neil Patrick Harris, which I found very enjoyable.
See, I thought the English cast on this episode was really weak because I just preferred the Japanese. Like Junya Inoki and Ryoko Shiraishi, they just do a phenomenal job. But Alison Brie and Neil Patrick Harris also do not a bad job. But it just didn't scream very anime to me. It screamed very like we're trying to act like it's an action sequence, but they're not really acting like it's an action sequence. It's really weird. Like just comparing Neil Patrick Harris when he does the scream, he's like ah, versus like the Japanese guy who's like getting really into it. He's like ah, and I'm just like, it's a minor difference. It honestly no one's gonna really care too much. It's like a 15 minute or a 20-minute episode. No one's gonna really care as much as I do about voice acting like this, but I do. And I did like the action sequence. It's very Trigger. Okay, I like Trigger's action sequences in all of their shows. I just don't like Trigger themselves because a lot of their anime, story-wise, always falls really short. They always have a really cool concept. Like this, the twins has a really cool concept, right? So we get two twins, Kare and who are fraternal twins. Is that right? Is that the term?
Yes.
Where one's a boy.
One is a boy, one is a girl. But yes, they're twins.
Yeah, they're Force-sensitive twins that get created by the Empire. I believe it's the Empire.
Wow. It says using Sith alchemy, because this actually takes place just after the events of Episode 6, so just after the Empire's defeat.
Okay.
So I guess they're essentially trying to reform the Empire.
Yeah, and they have like a fucking giant kyber crystal that requires the power of the twins to send force power through, and they can just shoot it like a Death Star, right? It's actually pretty fucking cool. Super fucking stupid of a design because it's literally just two Star Destroyers that are like combined with a fucking like giant kyber crystal in the center.
Welded together with a giant cannon in the middle of them.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird. But I'm trying to figure out how I want to explain this. With the twins, right? I thought it was a cool concept where these are supposed to be like they were trained in the dark side of the Force and they're supposed to be completely evil, but Kare actually ends up being not evil, like not a Sith Lord, versus who's like obviously a Sith Lord. Plus she has like fucking General Grievous arms, right? That was cool. Right. I was like, what was up with that?
Yeah, that was cool.
She has her exoskeleton on and she's like fuck General Grievous's 4 lightsabers. I get 6, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Oh man. And then B2 on B2 0 on
B2ON
B2ON Beton. That was, first of all, can people actually understand droid? I don't understand how that worked because again, never seen Star Wars. I was very confused how Kare understood what B2 on was saying.
Well, in this particular one, B2ON speaks in basic, in Star Wars, it's called basic, the language they speak. But in this, it's actually Japanese or English, depending on when you listen to it in. But for like droids like R2-D2 and stuff, they go. I guess because people seem to respond to them and have conversations with them, so I guess some people can understand what they're saying.
But didn't 3CPO say something about like he can't understand? I don't know where I fucking remember hearing this or seeing this in something Star Wars, but I thought there was like no one could actually understand droids except like a certain few because it's hard to actually understand it. I don't know.
Well, in Star Wars, at least in the Star Wars movies that I've seen, most of the people that can seem to understand droids when they speak are people who are Force sensitive. So I don't know if that has something to do with it.
That would kind of make more sense because, you know, the Force works in mysterious ways. Whatever. Fucking, I hate that. I hate how the Force works in mysterious ways. It's literally just a fucking Hail Mary of, like, I don't want to.
It's a get out of jail free card for a writer is what it is.
Yeah, and again, weak writing. So, let me talk about the story. Basically, the twins are brought up to make the Twin Star Destroyer to be able to use a kyber crystal and just fucking destroy planets. And then Kare decides, no, fuck that. I'm going to go steal the kyber crystal because he's seen a vision of his sister, dying when she tries to use the kyber crystal. And then he's kind of good, but kind of not. It's kind of weird because it's like he doesn't really care about the fact that the kyber crystal would be used to destroy planets. What he does care about is his sister dying. And then
he's doing the right thing for the wrong reason.
Yeah. But his sister is like, I don't care. We were born a Sith. And that was cool. That was a cool fight scene. And
it's like that way people will say, I was born here, I'll die here.
Yeah, like the fact that was like, fuck that. I don't care if the kyber crystal kills me. Like, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. Which, again, I get it. You know, that's how the Force works. If it was meant to be, it'll fucking be. But so he fights in that giant space battle. And then he blows her up he blows up her Star Destroyer, and then she flies off into space. and he crash lands onto the planet with his X-wing, and he's like talking to B2on, and he's like, yeah, I can feel my sister. She's still out there somewhere, and one day I'll figure out why we were created. And I was like, this is that Studio Trigger fucking writing that I was talking about, because it made absolutely no sense. First of all, Kare, bro, you know why you were fucking made. It's explained in the very fucking beginning. You were built by the Empire to be Sith Lords, to destroy planets. That's your purpose. What do you mean you're gonna figure out why you were fucking born? What? They tell you. What? It doesn't make sense.
Something I'd like to point out that may not be obvious also is that at the very end, Kare crash lands on Tatooine. That's the planet he crash lands on. I don't know what it is about Tatooine, but everything in Star Wars seems to lead there.
Oh, he does crash land on Tatooine. Oh, I don't know, man. This is easy out. Like, hey, we got to put a planet that people recognize. Oh, what about Tatooine? Everyone knows Tatooine. They know the music. They know the bar scene. You know, the most famous fucking scene from Star Wars, Tatooine.
Yes, everyone knows that.
Yeah, even I know that. I've never seen Star Wars. So, music-wise, though, I'm trying to look at... God, and this list is all the way down here. Who did the twins? Michiru Oshima. Music? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a composer for Trigger, I'm assuming, because they do the Trigger.
Yeah, pretty much like an in-house composer. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because she does the twins and the other. Okay. Yeah, music-wise, it wasn't very strong. In typical Trigger fashion, it wasn't terrible. It was okay. Studio Trigger's terrible storytelling, but the action scenes were cool. I wasn't into it.
And the character designs were good too.
Yeah, the character designs looked really fucking cool too. But like I said, that's just, I have a personal problem with Trigger because they always have really cool action sequences and they have really cool concepts, but man, do they have terrible fucking stories. They can't tell a story to save their fucking life. Like, that's why I like...
But it looks cool.
See, that's why I liked Kill la Kill so much, because they lean super heavy into, fuck doing the story. We don't give a fuck about that. Let's just do action. And I was like, that's what I like. That's what I like, Trigger. Just do that.
All right, so episode 4. I think you and I may actually be in agreement on this. The best music of the entire anthology.
I really liked episode 4 The Village Bride.
Yeah.
I don't know who Kinema Citrus is, but... as you've told me, they're apparently a very famous studio.
Well, I wouldn't say they're famous, but they've been kind of killing it recently. So that the 3 things that they're probably most known for, that a lot of people will remember them for. They did the sequel to Is the Order a Rabbit, and they also did Made in Abyss, and they're also working on Rising of the Shield Heroes. So those are probably the 3 things that people most know them for.
Black Bullet.
Yeah, Black Bullet too.
Show by Rock. Cardfight Vanguard. What is this? They have so many weird fucking things. Norn 9? What? I'm just so confused. But
then they did The Village Bride.
All right, so enough of looking at their actual list of things. Yeah, Village Bride. So I thought the music in this one was pretty on point. It's very Japanese. And years after the Great Jedi Purge, a fallen Jedi named F. Yeah, it's just about a village and someone who's like a Jedi who doesn't want to have to do any Jedi stuff anymore. And then she does Jedi stuff again. That was literally it. I like the animation style a lot. It looked really nice in comparison, because we had Kamikaze Doga, which again, it's 3D CG. It looks pretty rough, but it was cool. Aesthetically speaking, it was cool with the black and white and the red. And then you had Tatooine Rhapsody, which was super cartoony. Then you had Trigger. Trigger is Trigger. I wouldn't say they're very pretty. Again, Space Patrol Luluko art style. It looks cartoony, but it's okay. Studio Trigger can get away with it. But Village Bride was the very first episode that looked straight up like anime to me. Like your traditional 2D anime. and I really liked the aesthetic of the design of the characters, like the one who's being offered up as the village chief. I don't remember her name.
Is it Haru?
Yeah, Haru. Yeah, Haru. So Haru and the guy, I don't know the guy's name. Asu. Weird fucking names. Haru and Asu. I really liked their character design, like with how they were kind of tan, but they had like traditional, I don't know, tattoos, I guess. And the whole like escorting each
almost
other,
like Polynesian tribal tattoos.
Yes. I just really liked it. It looked really cool, and I liked F too. She looked really cool. She kind of looks like that lady from who's the blue-haired chick from Darling in the Franxx.
Oh, Ichigo?
Yeah, she looks like Ichigo kind of. And I really liked the mask thing too. That was so cool. I don't know what the Village Bride was about. Like, I don't understand why the fucking I don't know, the fucking the bandit raiders, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand their entire point of like trying to hold this village hostage by taking the village chief's daughter. Like, none of it gets explained because, again, it's an anthology. None of the stories really make sense. But I just thought it was really cool to see an actual anime sequence. It was nice. And let's see, Village Bride. Who did?
And the music and background art were all beautiful.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Who did the music for the Village Bride? Oh, did I scroll past?
That was Kevin Penkin, who also did the music for Made in Abyss.
Yeah, so Kevin Penkin, in typical Kevin Penkin fashion, the music is what really carried this episode, other than the fact that it looked pretty. There weren't too many action sequences, but it was pretty cool when you see F and she's looking over the village with whoever her mentor is. I don't know the guy's name.
Valko.
Yeah, so Valko is like, he's obviously trying to lead her into a lesson about like using the force for good, and like you got to restore balance to the universe and this and that. You know, you're a Jedi, you got to use your powers to help people, basically, right? It was very heavy-handed in that, and I was just like, yeah, whatever, like I get it. And obviously I knew F was gonna go save everyone, but holy shit, was that cool. Like when the dude shoots the blaster and then F just fucking holds it and fucking destroys his blaster. That was cool as shit. Yeah. Right? And then she does the fucking Bato draw with her lightsaber to cut the dude's arm off. Holy fuck. And then her boots, they light up and she's like super speed, like sing, like psh, you know, and then fucking one slice, then, you know, fucking what the fuck do they call that? EI.
What?
EI, that's what it's called. Where a single draw off the blade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like ching, and then it resheaves, and then like you're already dead but you don't know it. Like that type of shit. I love that. Right?
Omae wa mo shinderu.
Yeah, so they do that, and again, it's very Japanese. Right? It's like watching a Japanese drama, and I loved every fucking single minute of it. And Kevin Penkin does a great job scoring it because I was invested in this fucking episode, even though the story was really fucking stupid and weak. And again, this is nothing new. This is something that you see in media everywhere. Like some feudal lord or some fucking bandit camp has taken over, and they want offerings of like the young bride and this and that, and your hero who's obviously like they don't want to use their powers because it's led to bad things before it. It's like it's so boring of a topic for me, but I really liked this episode because I was invested in it.
It's funny to me because the people in this village seem to be somewhat isolated from the events of the rest of the galaxy as a whole, and they kind of going on living their own lives. Because this story takes place just a few years after the Jedi Purge that takes place at the end of episode 3. And like obviously whoever the Jedi is, that F, is someone who escaped the Purge and is trying to keep a low profile. Yeah. And I like the fact that this like these isolated people, like they are aware of the Force, but they don't call it the Force. I forget what they call it. They called it something different. Yeah, something like that. It starts with an M. And I like how they have this own like independent religion that has grown up around the Force, independent of how the Force is viewed by the greater galaxy. Like that's a good bit of storytelling right there.
Yeah, like the whole they live with harmony with the world, and they change with the world, and the planet like inherits their memories and this and that. I was like, it was very spiritual, and I actually really liked it. And I'm completely down with a religion based around just the Force, where people aren't actually Jedis, like Jedi Knights, but they live in harmony with the Force. That's super cool to me. Like, they're actually Force users, but they're not Jedis.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like that. I thought that was a really good way to explore like a somewhat isolated community within the Star Wars universe. I thought they did that really well. That's definitely something I loved about The Village Bride. Probably my second favorite part of this anthology.
I'd say it's definitely I wouldn't say top 3, because I have 2 other ones that I really liked. Actually, there's 3 other I like more than The Village Bride, mainly because of scoring and like Village Bride. Don't get me wrong, the scoring is great, but there's not a lot of action, right? It's literally just the end action sequence where the blaster sequence, the helmet rocket, and then the EI draw, and that's it. That's all the action you get. It lasts maybe 2-3 minutes.
Yeah. But moving on to my favorite part of this anthology, episode 5, The Ninth Jedi. So this was done by Production IG, which I don't think really needs much of an introduction. They've been around forever, and they've done such classics as Kuroko no Basuke. They did Psychopaths. What else have they done recently? What have they done recently?
Fina, Princess Pirate.
That's true.
They did Noblesse, Moriarty the
did?
Patriot. Yeah, let's see. Fooly Cooly, Progressive and Alternative. What?
Yeah, they worked on that too.
Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
They also did Ultraman.
Ultraman!
That was with Sola Digital Arts. But yeah. And they also did Eden of the East, which is one of the most underrated anime series ever made, in my opinion. But The Night Jedi. So this one is probably the one, if I had to pick just one anthology, or one of these anthologies to or one of these stories to become like expanded into a full series, this is the one I would pick. I definitely think this is a story which would be really nice to expand and explore more. The gist of it is there is this leader of a planet. His name is Margrave Juro, who is trying to get more and more masterless Jedi to come to him so he can train them and they can reform the Jedi Order. It's also implied that this takes place potentially thousands of years after the events of the movies. So like really, really far into the future. And he wants to invite them here to receive lightsabers and like continue their training. And I love number one, I love the twist that the little droid that is like attending to these people that have come was actually the Margrave all along. I love that twist. I also love the twist that the people who have come or most of the people who have come are actually Sith.
Yeah, the Sith acolytes. So I definitely, because of the style of everything, I definitely thought that the attending droid, I thought he was going to be evil. Okay. I completely 180'd me. I did not see that coming. Because it's like, why everyone's been invited here by a mysterious Jedi ruler and no one knows who he is or where he is. I was like, obviously this droid is here. They're going to kill all the Jedis that show up, right? That's what I thought was going to happen. I did not expect to see that the Margrave was going to come out. And I definitely did not expect that every single Jedi that came there was a fucking Sith acolyte.
Yeah. With the exception of 2.
Well, one of them is a darkness consumed him, so I guess he was originally a Jedi. He has a purple lightsaber too. He's the only other person who has a purple lightsaber. But yeah, this follows the story about a sabersmith and his daughter. And it's like, apparently lightsabers are a lost art. No one knows how to make them anymore. And kyber crystals are rare. They've always been rare in the Star Wars universe as far as I know. But I thought that was really cool. Like the sabersmith forging new lightsabers.
So in Star Wars as a whole, it's never really been discussed in terms of canon exactly how lightsabers get their color. There's one method of, or one train of thought that has like there's these colored kyber crystals that you add to the lightsaber that gives it its color, and then there's another train of thought that says it's the actual aura of the Jedi themselves that gives the lightsabers their color. This one goes with the latter instead of the former, because you actually see the sabersmith's daughter activate a lightsaber, and it's clear. It has no color to it. You can see the blade, you can see the outline of the blade, but it has no color.
Yeah, so it's like she's talented in the Force, right? So she obviously can use a lightsaber, and she has actually pretty good handling skills. However, it has no color, and her dad tells her like, eventually the Force will guide you, and you'll blossom. Basically, you'll come into a colored saber when the time is right. And it was super cool watching the fight scene in this one was really fucking good. Like production IG, sure. I don't know what the fuck you've been doing, where you've been hiding these people to make these shows. Like, bring these guys
basement,
out.
What basement did you get these animators out of?
Yeah, like, what did you have them working on? Because, holy shit, did they do a phenomenal job at animating the fight scene. Like, it was just so fucking cool. And so, the daughter, she escapes to go give the masterless Jedi the lightsabers, and when they pick it all up, everyone's a fucking Sith Lord. Or no, a Sith acolyte. They can't be Sith Lords. There's no way. And it's like, what? There's only one guy. Was it Dan? Was that his name? Who's the kid?
No, that's from the Elder. That's what we'll talk about later. What was the first guy's name? I think his name was La, wasn't it?
I do not fucking remember. Ethan.
That's right.
Yeah. So Ethan, he pulls out the droid pulls out like, "Are you guys looking for this?" And then Ethan touches it. It's like, "Is that a real lightsaber? By the time I was born, these have already been lost to the universe." And he touches it and it turns blue, and it's like, "Whoa, it's a lightsaber." Only Ethan was the out of the other masterless Jedi that showed up. Only he was good, because then everyone else, they do the surrounding circle, and they turn on their lightsabers and they're all fucking red. You're like, yo, it's a Sith party, what the fuck? And then they're like, where's the Margrave? We still are waiting for him. And then, like you said, he's like, oh, the Margrave?
He pops out like, here I am, bitches.
Yeah, fucking Margrave Juro pops out of the fucking droid, and he's like, oh, you don't have to wait, because I've been here this entire time. And then
Nani?
Yeah. So then the Sith acolytes were like, we're gonna fucking kill you, Margrave Juro. You're not gonna restore the order. So then they go and fight him with his fucking. At first I was like, oh shit. I wonder if the Margrave is gonna be evil, because I was like, why else would he want to gather the Sith Lords or the Sith? I keep saying Sith Lords. They're not Sith Lords because they can't be Sith Lords, because apparently, because fucking Juro goes 1v3 and fucking smashes these guys. They gotta be Sith acolytes. They cannot be Sith Lords, because Sith Lords would not lose this easily.
No, oh Jesus, the word just escaped me all of a sudden. The write-up for this episode says that they're called Sith imposters.
Okay. Yeah, see, I swear in the episode they call themselves the Sith acolytes or something. They're like the apprentice Sith. Basically, whatever the official canon Star Wars name for apprentice Sith is, that's what they are. So that explains why they get bodied so easily by Juro, who is supposed to be like, I'm not sure if he's supposed to be a Master Jedi, but he definitely knows how to fight, because that was super cool. Again, the action sequence in The Night Jedi was really fucking good. Like, everything about the story was interesting. The daughter of a sabersmith who is very force sensitive, freaking the last Jedi, freaking Ethan, or the 9th Jedi, and apparently there is 8 other Jedi other than Margrave Juro. I don't know if Ethan counts as one of the Jedi, and
I would assume so.
Yeah, I honestly don't know anything about like how many Jedi there are or anything like that. I don't know if
That's
there's a
why
finite
I think
amount.
this is a story I'd love to see expanded into a full series. Like, this is how invested in it I was. Like, I would love to see like how this guy is getting more and more of these Jedi to come together to reform the order, because obviously there's not that many force sensitives left, or at least not people who are aware that they're force sensitive. So,
and then there's
it'd be great to see.
Yeah, so they strike down all the Sith acolytes, and then they don't kill. There's one guy left, and he's fighting Ethan. I think his name was Hanbei.
Yes. No, Holman.
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 Holman. What? What did you say?
Yes. Homen. Homen.
Was that his name? I don't remember.
Yes.
That's
the one with the purple lightsaber.
Yeah, the guy with the purple lightsaber. All right, so the fucking purple lightsaber guy, he's a Sith, and he has like the darkness has consumed him, but then he like turns back to purple, and they let him live. And I was just like, okay, this is interesting. Why did you fall to the dark side in the first place? Obviously, you're a regular Jedi, so what happened? There's a lot going on here. And the little cheeky zoom out that they did where the sky temple, the Jedi sky temple, turns upside down and the light beam shines down and it's a fucking lightsaber.
Yes.
I was like, that's kind of fucking cool. That was a cool closer shot. Like, I really liked it. I don't know. There's a lot about the Night Jedi I like. Mainly the music's really good. It's on point. The animation is fucking solid. Like, holy shit.
It also kind of ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger because, like, the Sabersmith, he gets attacked, but he doesn't die. The people that attack him drag him off somewhere to, I guess, whoever sent these Sith acolytes after, whoever showed up. And that's where, at the end, that's where you see them all, like, go off to, is to go find the Sabersmith's daughter's father.
Yeah, because it makes sense. Like, if sabers have been lost to this universe, why would you kill the only sabersmith you know of? Like,
yeah, especially if you're trying to like reform the Sith Order, then yeah, you'd want more lightsabers for you.
Yeah, that was the entire point of the Sith acolytes gathering, because they wanted lightsabers because they never had a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Which I would argue, like, why would you need a lightsaber if you can use the Force to lightning strike people and fucking hold off blaster shots anyway, but whatever.
Shh, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, I know. You Star Wars fans don't want to talk about things like this because it makes no sense. Okay. But yeah, as like a standalone, I would love to watch this, the Ninth Jedi. It just seems so cool. And I love the main character girl. Oh my god, what's Lazima's daughter's name? Holy shit.
Kara.
I think she's super cool.
Yeah, I said it. I'd love to see this expanded into a full series, and maybe we will. Who knows? So the next episode 6, is TOB1, or Toby. I think you and I might be in agreement about this as well. Perhaps the second weakest of these episodes.
I'd say it's third weakest because it's not too bad. So I didn't like it very much because the art style for this one, Science Saru, the animation studio, they were going for a
Astro Boy look.
Thank you. I was gonna say Astro Man. I was like, that's not right. Yeah, it screams fucking Astro Boy. And because these are all short anthology episodes, like nothing makes sense and everything kind of gets yada yada'd over. But yeah, Professor Mitaka, the armless, he's armless, but he's a Jedi, which is super cool. He creates a fucking droid, and like the droid becomes a fucking Jedi. That's the entire story. And I was just like, what? And it's so cool because I thought this was the weakest opening episode for me, for sure. I would have fucking hated Star Wars Vision if this was the very first episode. If you didn't introduce me with the duel into Star Wars Visions, and you went from Tatooine Rhapsody to like Toby, I would have fucking hated this. I would have been like, oh, this is garbage. This is not worth watching. Like the first 2 episodes suck. But the fight sequence in Toby, holy shit, was that cool. It kind of yada yadas over the fact that Toby, he's told by Professor Mitaka, like, well, you're if you want to become a Jedi, in old times, Padawans would go and find their own kyber crystals. So Toby, the robot, he goes, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna search this planet. And he searches the planet, he can't find it, and then he remembers that the professor was like, hey, don't go into the basement. So he's like, oh, obviously that's where the kyber crystal is. So he goes there, he opens it up and turns on and then he accidentally turns on I don't think it was an X-Wing, was it?
No, it's a T-16.
Yeah. So the other fucking type of ship. So he turns it on, and then like an Inquisitor finds where he is. Then he comes down and he kills Professor Mitaka, which is like, yeah, whatever, super sad. I get it. And you learn that Professor Mitaka is a Jedi because he literally opens the door to that T-16 with fucking force powers. He's like, he has no arms. He's like force power. Like, oh shit, he's a Jedi. And yeah, it screamed super Saturday morning shonen to me. Again, I didn't like how it looked like Astro Boy. It was super cartoony, but I did like the action sequence. Holy shit, let me tell you about this action sequence. So when Toby fights the Inquisitor, he gets his ass handed to him. Again, very typical shonen like esque type of duel. And then he like believes in the power of the Jedi, and Professor Mitaka tells him like, it's time, Toby. Like, you are now a Jedi. You know, I dubbed thee Jedi, whatever. He does the whole knighting thing. So then Toby fucking becomes, instead of TOB1, he becomes Toby. I thought his name was Toby the entire time just because I don't know, elite speak. But yeah, then he like, because of the power of being approved by the Force Ghost of Professor Mitaka, he like gets a sudden upgrade, and then he combines with what's that fucking thing? He has like a little robot buddy.
Oh,
remember his name.
What was his name? I forget.
I don't know, C3Go or some shit, CN-Go.
Yeah, it's something like that. I forget. I know what you're talking about. I forget that little robot's name though.
He has a little robot that attaches to his back and turns into a fucking jetpack. Okay, and it's fucking cool. So Toby,
does it make sense? No. Is it cool? Yes.
Yeah, none of this made sense. But Toby fucking combines with this little robot, and he gets an upgrade, and he has a booster thing, and he glows, and he's kind of like a mecha transformation, like combination power shit. I just loved it. Again, Saturday morning cartoon vibes, and it was so cartoony and kiddie, but I loved it. I loved this fight sequence. Like I'd say the first 10 minutes of this is super weak, but the last 5 minutes sure as hell make up for it, because that fight with the Inquisitor is so fucking funny and cool. I loved it. It was just, again, but it was super cartoony. Like, he breaks his mask, and the Inquisitor like has like a robotic face type of thing. It's super cartoony, but I don't know. It looked really cool. The music, I didn't like it too much. And again,
it was very electronic.
It was very electronic, but you know, coming from the other ones, which have been kind of more Japanesey, like Toby did not scream Japanese to me. Like, to me, again, it screamed like this was like watching Mega Man from the 90s, okay?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, you're right.
Like, super cartoony and weird, and just overall not a great time.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Now, for me personally, I love the art style, but I know it's definitely an acquired taste. Yes,
that's
because
you're old.
I know. Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much more for me to say about it. I personally think story-wise, it's probably the second weakest. But I actually did like the aesthetic of it. And yeah, I also agree that the music is nothing really that much to write home about with this particular episode.
Also, he's a fucking droid and he becomes a Jedi? Like, what? Is that allowed?
That's not unique. That has happened a couple of times. I mean, look at General Grievous.
Hold on. Wait, that's illegal. There we go.
Wait a minute. That's illegal.
I had to get out the fucking references. But that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, General Grievous is technically a droid. However, wasn't he he has like a cerebral cortex or something, or a spine in his
he's
suit?
Basically, I don't think he was actually human. I think he was some kind of an alien, but he was a biological life form that essentially became a droid, yes.
So I guess you could say he could be force sensitive because he technically had like living parts, but Toby is 100% a droid. He's all mechanical. So how did he become a fucking Jedi? How does the midichlorians work? Make it make sense, George Lucas.
The Force.
I hate that. No, don't you fucking say that. So again, I'm just nitpicking. I'm just being a little bitch. But it didn't make sense because, again, he's supposed to be a droid, right? It would make sense if he could use lightsabers. Anyone can use a fucking lightsaber, but only a Jedi can like summon their lightsaber or some shit, right? I think, who was I talking to that told me this? I was talking to someone about this, and they were explaining it to me because I was like, it didn't make sense. Like, wait, anyone can use a fucking lightsaber? Like, yeah, anyone can, but only a Jedi could actually use the Force to like will it back to them. And I'm like, that's so dumb.
I mean,
so why
doesn't Solo uses a lightsaber in The Empire Strikes Back? So.
Yeah. So what bothers me is like, so everyone knows kyber crystals are super OP and they can literally slash ships in half. Why don't people?
That's what powers the Death Star.
Why don't people just use kyber crystals in everything then? Like, I get that they're rare, but let's say, like, if you can just pick up a Jedi's fucking lightsaber and use it, why wouldn't you equip yourself with that and fight people? Why would you even have blasters? Why would everyone in the fucking universe be proficient in lightsabers if it doesn't fucking matter?
I do know in the books that, at least with the Republic, they highly regulated who could mine and own kyber crystals. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous, like, power source that can quite literally destroy planets. So
it's like how in our world we heavily regulate who has access to nuclear weapons.
Yeah. So again, nitpicking. How does a droid become a Jedi? Make it make sense, George Lucas.
Never. Anyway, moving on to episode 7, which is the second episode directed or done by Studio Trigger, The Elder. I'd also like to point out that this particular episode is directed by Masahiko Atsuka, who this was his swan song. He is retired now that he has done this. This was his very final project that he ever worked on, and he's been in the anime industry for fucking years. So what a thing to go out on. And he's also, apparently he had been a Star Wars fan, since the 1970s. And he jumped at the bit to actually do this as his last thing that he did. So, I mean, congrats to him, because I think The Elder is definitely one of the stronger entries in Star Wars Visions.
Yeah. See, watching The Elder, I didn't know it was Studio Trigger, because it doesn't look like Trigger. Like, at all.
It doesn't.
Because I'm just so used to Trigger's, like, art style and fashion of, like, character designs. It looks
over the top.
Yeah, over the top. Everything looks like Kill la Kill or Space Patrol Luluco. Like, well, I mean, over the top is. This one wasn't over the top. It was very subdued, right?
Yes.
Like, obviously, it was not an Imaishi film. This was so obvious because the storytelling was a lot slower, but was it so fucking cool? So they're patrolling. It's following a Jedi Master named Tajin and his Padawan Dan, and they're patrolling the Outer Rim when the Jedi feels there's a disturbance in the Force. He legitimately just says that, and I was just like, also, hey, they said the thing. They said the thing.
Well, there were a couple of things. There was one in the Twins. Someone says, I think it's says to Kari, where are you going to go with that kyber crystal? And Kari says, to a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think in every single episode except Toby, I think someone utters the phrase, I have a bad feeling about this.
Freaking all of the callbacks, dude. Like, that's what I love about this anthology. Like, obviously people who liked Star Wars worked on this. It makes so much more sense. But yeah, so we follow Tajin and Dan, and they show up to this fucking remote planet, and they're like, hey, so anything weird been going on, man? And then the villagers are like, oh yeah, there was this, like, old dude who came here. It was weird. No, we don't get a lot of visitors around these parts. And then that's where Tajin's like, I've got a bad feeling about this. So he goes exploring. He finds the I don't know what the fuck it was, like a Sith fucking ship.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about. This is like where my knowledge of Star Wars stuff obviously wanes, because I've never actually seen it. So I don't know what's supposed to be a Sith ship. Like, it looks evil. It's dark and black and stuff. It looks like the one Kylo Ren rides in.
Yeah.
Like, it's obviously this guy is evil, and I'm not sure if he's part of the Empire, but he's obviously supposed to be a Sith. And Dan unfortunately meets him first and fights him, and this old dude, the Elder, he's a battle maniac, and he just fucking plays around with Dan and then just ends his life. He's got dual fucking lightsabers. They look fucking cool.
They look like scimitars.
They look, I wouldn't say they're just like curved katanas, but yeah, it was cool. And then you get to see Tajin fight him, and it was very, I wouldn't say it was super action heavy, because the sequence only lasts a couple, like, honestly, I think it only lasted 2 minutes total. The entire encounter from, like, Dan to Tajin fighting him.
Yeah, more or less.
It was very fast. The music is actually not bad. Again, whatever her name was, I read it earlier. Michiru Oshima. She does a pretty fine job. I would say The Elder would be my, Probably my third favorite, because it's very Trigger, but I liked it. And of course the story didn't make sense because, again, Trigger doesn't make good stories. It's just literally, it was very simple, and that's what I actually liked about it, because it's like, who is this guy? Is he a Sith Lord? He's like, maybe he was a Sith Lord, but he was like, the Sith Order was too concentrated on this and that. That's why they fucking destroyed themselves. I only care about fighting the strong. And that's it. And that was just cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
That's what I thought the first episode was going to be, to be honest.
Yeah. I find it funny that like the title itself, The Elder, obviously there's the dynamic in this of the Padawan and the Master, right?
Yeah.
Where one does seem like he's getting a little up there in age, and maybe he's gonna be, giving up the life soon, perhaps. He seems to, and he comes off as like very wise and, learned. Like, he's been around. It's even mentioned that he's visited many, many planets. And so he seems to know his way around the place. And the guy that they fight is obviously a very elderly person. And I just thought like the dynamic there was very interesting. That you have the master trying to teach the apprentice while he's actually trying to fight someone who's also been a master, who's been around forever.
Yeah. Overall, good time. Good fucking time.
Yeah.
All right, we've got 2 more
also
episodes
some good
to
music
review.
in The Elder too.
We've got 2 more episodes to talk about, and we're like at an hour mark, so
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's talk about episode 8, Lapan Ocho. I like the fact that it's one of the characters' name is Ocho, and Ocho means 8 in Spanish.
Like, so Lapan Ocho, I really like this episode. Gino Studio with Yuki Igarashi, fucking fantastic. Okay.
Yeah. Relatively new studio, by the way.
So the reason I like Lapan Ocho was this entire episode plays out like a historical drama. It's so Japanese, right? Like, obviously, Oyuban and his daughter find Lop, who's like this. She's a bunny, right? A bunny person.
Yeah, bunny-like, I guess.
Bunny-like person, and they adopt her into the family, and there's like a clash of it's very Japanese drama, like Japanese Yakuza drama, and I loved I was lapping it up, dude.
Honestly, if you strip away like the Star Wars veneer that's on top of this, I could literally see this being something that plays out in one of the Yakuza video games.
It's very Yakuza, like the story is very Yakuza heavy. Like, there's the Oyuban family and Ocho, and then she's supposed to be the next lead, and she wants to take the clan in a different direction, and Lop, who was adopted by her, wants to stay traditional, so they clash, and the fucking katana with the engraved writing on it, and the passing of the lightsaber, like, thousands of years ago, the Jedi came to this planet, and our family has done this tradition, and so the dad, the Oyuban, gives it to the adoptive daughter instead of the actual daughter. Then Ocho becomes consumed with darkness because she's turned to the dark side, and it's just so cool, man. I loved every single minute of that. Like, Lop and Ocho would be my second contender for I wish it was its own series. I would watch the shit out of this.
Yeah, I would watch this too. Especially if you could, like, because one of the things that happens is obviously Lop and Ocho, they meet, and then there's this time gap where it just says 7 years later. I'd like to see more of what happened in those 7 years, please.
Yeah, like the music was done by Yoshiaka Dewa, how you pronounce that? Sorry, Yoshiaka-kun. We also did the music for the second one, Tatooine Rhapsody, which is weird considering how different it is. Like, Tatooine Rhapsody was, well, I guess it was good. Like, it was very rock centric, and it screamed rock. And Lop and Ocho screams just traditional Japanese, like historical drama type of shit. I loved it. It was so dramatic. Oh man. And when Lop like becomes one with the Force, and then her eyes start to gleam, and then she like the lightsaber works even better, and she takes the Sai and fucking does the X cross against Ocho, and I'm just like, yo, like, this is dope. I want to see this. I would say Lop and Ocho would be my. I want to put it on my favorite. Like, I like it so much, but the Ninth Jedi was also really good. It's really a toss up between the two. Like, I can't decide. I'm honestly gonna have to go with Lop and Ocho just because the music was that much better than the Ninth Jedi, but story wise, both of them were very compelling.
Yeah. And both of them would make great series if they were expanded out, I think.
Yeah.
I also like that this is actually, the story takes place like sometime between the episodes 3 and 4. So obviously the Empire is like in full force. I also like the whole backstory of like the planet was like a kind of peaceful, idyllic place. The people kind of lived pretty much in harmony with nature, but then the Empire came and they sort of welcomed the Empire with open arms, because at first the Empire made them very prosperous, but now the Empire is just ruthlessly exploiting the resources of their planet. But like, and the whole thing with Ocho is like all she's seeing is the prosperity that the Empire is bringing. She's not seeing the damage that they're obviously doing to the planet.
Yeah, and again, like I said, it's very traditional Japanese Yakuza, because, for example, one of the stories that happened, like in a lot of Yakuza-centered films, there's always a changing of the guard, right? The new generation wants to do new things. The old generation doesn't. Like, the old generation said, we will never deal in drugs. But the new generation's like, but we should deal in drugs. It makes a lot of money. There's different families doing it. But then the old generation's like, no, we have always done it this way. We'll always do it this way. It's very Japanese drama. I've seen so many freaking drama shows like this that center around this very thing, where it's like the changing of the guard, the old versus the new, and then like the person who is raised traditional, who's adopted into the family and stuff like that. Or the person who is adopted is like doing really good work, coming up and doing the new stuff, and then they betray it, and then it's like I've seen it all. But I love this type of story. It's very compelling to watch, because it makes you want to watch another episode. It leaves you off with a sense of wanting more, which is what Lop and Ocho did. Like, I just loved it. Also, I thought it was very fitting that Ocho, which means 8, this was also the 8th episode in the anthology. I wonder if they did that on purpose. Like, I wonder if Lop and Ocho was supposed to be on a different episode count, but they just changed it because they're like, well, Ocho technically means 8, so if we put it at episode 8, oh, look at that, it's kind of cool.
I like it. It's probably just a coincidence, but it is funny.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk about the last episode.
Okay, we'll go ahead and talk about it. That's how we'll finish it off, because it is a sad way to finish this off, because I think you and I are definitely in agreement that this is the weakest of all the episodes. I'm glad they put it at the end. I'd hate to think that this was going to be what they started out with.
Yeah, again, so I ubiquitously, unanimously, wholeheartedly agree. Arakiri, episode 9, worst fucking episode. Like, it's not the fact that there's not a lot of action. It's like everything about it I don't like. Like Science Saru, I didn't like the anime. Okay, Science Saru was the one who did the Astro Boy one, right? So Arakiri, it has a weird like style to it. It looks not like Astro Boy, but it's very pudgy, right? Like it looks like Poyo, or Ponyo. Watching fucking Ponyo, the Studio Ghibli, without all the cool, like cute stuff. I hated that. Okay. On top of that, there's a lot of like it literally mirrors episode 3. A Jedi Knight falls in love with this princess, and then like the family gets destroyed, and then he gets betrayed or whatnot, and the girl that he loves, the princess, dies, and he joins forces with evil to bring her back, for love. Very much like Anakin.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if they did this on purpose, where they were trying to mirror episode 3, but I picked up on it right fucking away. Because right when the princess was like in love with the Jedi Knight, I was like, huh, I've seen this before.
Yeah, this seems a bit familiar.
Yeah, and then the whole like he kills her, and then he has to join forces with the darkness to bring her back. I was like, I have definitely seen this before. Do it.
Do it.
I was waiting for him to show up to just go like, do it.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's not much else I can say about it either. Like, I get what they were going for, but yeah, it does really just feel like a rehash of stuff that we've already seen before, just with a different veneer on it. And I definitely agree that the art style is very much a lot like the other one that Science Saru did, Toby. It's very much an acquired taste.
I'm sure some people are going to be fans of it, but me personally, I couldn't get behind it. And I hated that because of how much I liked Lop and Ocho, all right? So I binged this. I'm not sure if you binged every single episode because this all did come out on the same day on Disney
On
Plus.
Disney Plus, yeah.
So I binged all 9 episodes in one sitting because honestly, it only takes like 2, maybe 3 hours tops to binge all 9 episodes.
I think the longest episode is 20 minutes long.
And the shortest one's like 12. So it's,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of long episodes here.
Yeah. I binged it. I did it. I binged it over the course of like 3 hours.
Okay. It just feels like such a weak place to leave off of.
Yeah, it does. Like I feel like this maybe should have been put somewhere near the middle. Definitely not. It shouldn't have been started out with it, but I don't know. It does feel like a really weak entry to leave off on, especially when there's so many other things that are way stronger. But overall, like, to kind of put a bow on all of this, I think overall this is really good. This is a really good anime anthology series. And as weak as what we just talked about, Akakiri, the final episode was, I think I would be, no, you know what, I'm gonna say it. Every single episode here has more creativity, has more passion, and has more, I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for, gumption put into it than any Star Wars Disney movie we've gotten so far.
I can't speak to that because, again, never seen a Star Wars movie fully. I haven't finished any Star Wars movies, and I sure as hell have not seen any of the new stuff.
Except Mandalorian.
Well, I meant 7, 8, 9, but yes, I've seen Mandalorian, but that technically takes place after episode 6?
Yeah, it takes place between episodes 6 and 7.
Yeah, it has to. So, how I would rate for my personal enjoyment of the episodes is, again, Lop and Ocho, it's a toss-up between Lop and Ocho and the Ninth Jedi. I'm gonna say Lop and Ocho gets a slight edge just because I really like the whole Yakuza aspect, and I loved the soundtrack for that episode. The sound, it was just amazing. I loved it. So I'd say Lop and Ocho was my favorite. The Ninth Jedi is a very close second. Then I'd say my next favorite would be probably, it's a toss-up again between The Elder and Village Bride, because, you know what? No. I liked The Duel a lot more than those. Even though The Duel has less to offer, like not as great music, I just love the artistic style. And again, feudal Jedi Empire Japan-esque, like, that's so cool. Like, didn't they just release a Star Wars like with a samurai, was it not a clone trooper or a stormtrooper with like fucking samurai armor? It's like red. It looks super fucking cool. You know what I'm talking about?
Like are you talking about like a toy?
Yeah, it's like a figure. It's a stormtrooper, but it's like feudal Japan armor. It's
Maybe?
red.
I don't know.
Looks,
I don't really keep up with the Star Wars toys.
Yeah, so they released this, and it looks so fucking clean, and I love that aesthetic. It like future meets fucking Japan. I love it. So I would say The Duel would be number 3, and then I would say I'm gonna have to give it to The Village Bride just because it's a cooler setup than The Elder. Even though The Elder has better fight scenes, I would say I overall would like the world building of The Village Bride a lot more than, because there's actual world they're building. There's an environment versus The Elder, which is just show up and fight. And then I'm sorry, but the Twins is like low on that list. Like my fourth, like from the bottom, would be the Twins, just because it's Trigger, man. It's a bad story. It's very Trigger combat, and it was cool, I guess, but I don't know. The Elder just was way better than the Twins, in my opinion. Even though I like Imaishi, don't get me wrong, everything about it screams Trigger. It's not bad. It's just I didn't enjoy it because it's very lacking. I would have appreciated more story. I would have appreciated better storytelling first and foremost. Like, we don't establish anything in the Twins about like why Kara even cares about his sister, because again, you're supposed to be brought up to be Sith Lords, and you're twin Sith Lords for the dark side. So why did you even care about your older sister? Because your older sister only cares about just you know, fulfilling her destiny and destroying planets. So that didn't really make sense. It's just weak to me. And Toby would be my second least favorite. I just, again, not for me, man. Not for me. It does have a cool fight scene. Not a bad episode for sure. And obviously, very bottom is Arakiri. It's just so out of place. everything here has really good. Either they've got a good soundtrack, they've got a good story, or they've got good fighting. Arakiri has none of that.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weak. I was like, I'm actually very surprised that this came out in this anthology, considering how every single episode prior to this has something good about it that I actually like. Well, I guess I forgot to rank Tatooine Rhapsody. I would rank that above, I'd rank that below the twins, but I'd rank it above Toby, because I did like the music. I didn't like Toby very much. Science Saru, man, I'm sorry. I don't like your studio. I think I can't watch your shit.
Yeah, I won't. I'm not gonna go through the entire list myself. I'll definitely give you my top three. Obviously, the Ninth Jedi is my favorite one. My number 2 would probably be La Pinocho, and then number 3 is probably it is a really close toss up between The Village Bride and The Elder. I think I'm gonna give it to The Elder simply because I think there may actually be a better story there.
Because you're a Trigger fanboy.
Yeah, well, I am. No, I just generally I like it. I don't know. I'm very happy that we got this though. I don't know if anything else is going to come of this. I really hope that maybe one of these does get expanded into something more, because obviously anime is a good medium to tell a story within the Star Wars universe. Obviously animation we know is, because we got the Clone Wars, and that's one of the best things about the Star Wars franchise is the Clone Wars.
I fucking love Clone Wars.
So I don't know. I'd love to see more of this. I'd love to see maybe Disney team with maybe one of these studios to just kind of expand on one of these ideas and see if they can create a full series out of it.
Man, you know what? So, little factoid, The Ninth Jedi was actually supposed to be 2 films, but they condensed it to 1, because originally the episode count was supposed to be 10, but now it's 9. So I think The Ninth Jedi is a very strong contender for actually being a series, since they did have a 2-episode for The Ninth Jedi, which would be awesome. Again, I would love that. I would fucking love to see The Ninth Jedi as its own independent series, along with La Pinocho. I would love to see these 2.
Yeah. I really don't know what else to say. I mean, that's pretty much it. If you had to give the entire anthology a score out of 10, what would you give it?
Solid 8.5, man.
Yeah, I think the exact same thing. For me, it's a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah, there's good action, there's good story, everything about it. I probably would have rated this a 9 if I did not fucking see our Akakiri, because god damn it. Nothing. It gave me nothing. I'm still salty about that. I'm really fucking salty about this.
What you're saying is take that one out and then expand the Ninth Jedi even more.
I would have loved that. Honestly speaking, if Akakiri did not exist and they replaced it with the second part to the Ninth Jedi, I would have given this a 9 out of 10, near perfect anime. It was great. I love the fact that we have different studios exploring the universe, because it's just cool. I, for whatever reason, love the spin-offs, because it's just, there's a lot more to Star Wars than the main series, the main franchise.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's where we're going to leave it. So thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us. Check the description below to find links to Anime Club After Dark on Twitch, on social media, and on Discord. Check out our merch store as well, and check out our merch store and our affiliate links as well. Any purchases you make there do really help us out. With that, I've been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, John.
Good night.
Hey, John.
What's up?
May the Force be with you.